All right, everybody, here we go. Welcome back to TBN.
Is it running again? Oh, no, sorry. Forgot to mute the live stream.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
I heard you redo the intro in my ear, and I thought something's wrong.
So, look, we only do this every other week now, so the chances for dangle clacks are high. But I think we pulled this one out. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to TBN. We used to do a lot of things on this show, but now it's called TBN. We talk about news here, as it relates to the world of vaping, what we do, the world of vaping, tobacco control, harm reduction, smoking, cigarettes, nicotine, science, policy, legislation. I mean, it just keeps
so many things.
So many things. There's been a lot going on, and we got a lot to talk about today. But I am your freedom-loving, bad libertarian host, GrimmGreen, now joined by my wonderful far-left fact-checker. It's president of CASA. That's Danielle Jones over there.
Hey.
How's things, howdy. Danielle Jones? How you been?
Oh, pretty good. If we have a personal segment at the end, I'll tell you all about this new video game. Not new, but new to me video game that my husband and I are obsessively playing in the evenings.
You guys are yeah, okay. Well, let's make sure we get time for video game chat, because I'm trying to get my wife on board with some video games or possibly some VR type of situation. I'm trying to ease her into this idea. And so I'm all interested to hear about that. All right, right on. All right, we got something to look forward to now after all of this weird-ass news. But we have a bunch of, kind of weird-ass news that's been happening today. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I see you there in the chat. RVD, Jolly, I see you there. Pam, Janine's here tonight. Jason's here tonight. I see you there, buddy. Ern here. Yo-yo to ya. Yo-yo to ya, John. Jake Scrapwood here. Yo-yo to you, bro. My one, we got 3 moderators in the chat tonight. That's okay.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, you guys. Well, like I said, thank you guys so much for coming out. And what we do on Tuesdays every other week is we dig into some juicy vape news, juicy Bloomberg news, juicy Maryland guy getting tased news over vaping. We got some juicy science news, though, today, and really, this is really great news, but it's one of those things like, what's going to come of this news? What's going to happen because of this news? A lot of people in the vape industry, we just get really depressed. We go, nothing will change.
Right.
Like, that's kind of the
They
mentality.
already ran around lying for 6 months, so what's the truth gonna do now?
Yeah, after 15 months of this, like, what's the actual truth gonna do now? But we're gonna talk about SARS-CoV-2 as it relates to vaping. Turns out that literally everybody was wrong about it.
Yeah.
Literally every human. Okay, maybe I won't go that far as to say every human.
Us in the community were not entirely wrong. We were more, probably a little more right, but
we were a lot more right. But here, let's just jump into this. Let's just jump into this news. Let's do some newsy things and the such as. Oh, just grooving on that. On that. Testimonials. I just want to put this out there. I'm going to put this on all of my live streams forever moving forward, at least in the foreseeable future. Testimonials are really important. Testimonials matter. I always bring up Representative Julie Casimiro up there in Rhode Island, whose mind was completely changed on the topic of vaping from, that's right, testimonials. Hearing from vapers. Your stories matter tremendously. I'll say this every time. Just do the testimonial. Go to CASA, do the testimonial. Go anywhere you can to do a testimonial. If someone offers a testimonial and say, hey, give us your testimonial, do it. Just tell your story. Your story is important. It is human. It is lived experience.
It is.
And it's really, really, truly important. So I'm going to put that out there. Did you see these cigarettes, Danielle Jones?
Wait, no. What?
Okay, so this is a UK thing. Can I play my Andy sound clip?
Meanwhile, in the UK.
So meanwhile, in the UK, this is the newest law that's being introduced in the United Kingdom. They're pushing for it's just one guy. Hang on, let me get to this.
Okay.
Just this one guy is pushing this. George Young, so Lord George Young, wants to introduce a bill to put health warnings on every cigarette. Every single cigarette is going to say "smoking kills" on it. The smoking campaign group called Forest called this plan laughable. I feel like that's pretty accurate. I
laughed.
If I was a smoker, and smoking, this would deter me zero from smoking.
No.
I would probably seek these out as a smoker because they're cool. I would go, look how cool my cigarettes are. They say smoking kills on it. I think that this is a case of I feel like this politician just said this might work. we put graphic warnings and on all sorts of other packaging. Why not move it directly to the cigarettes as like a last resort warning?
Just in case you forgot.
Right. In case you forgot.
Like if you forgot.
If you forgot that smoking is horrible for you.
We're all told that from like the age of 2, and they're already on the packaging, and everybody who walks by you tells you you're going to die.
Yes.
And you couldn't forget it even if you wanted to, but we also need it on the individual cigarette.
And who is going to get to that point of going into the store, seeing all of the warnings, right? Buying a cigarette, seeing the warnings, unwrapping them, pull it out, and then as you're about to light it, you go, wait. Smoking kills.
No.
If only someone had warned me sooner by printing it on a cigarette.
Right. Because
it makes no sense, dude. And you get warning blind to things like this.
Oh, you do.
That's my experience when I was in New Zealand. All of their cigarettes and tobacco are behind closed doors. So even when you go into like a convenience store or something, it's all closed up. You can't see anything. But when they open them, it's just floor-to-ceiling, yellow, bright warnings about smoking kills, smoking causes emphysema, graphic pictures of like cancer-ridden mouths and lung cancer and all. And you just end up seeing right past it. You don't even look at the warnings anymore. I was outside the hotel in New Zealand vaping in like the smoky area, and I'm just out there with my phone and I'm vaping. And another dude just comes down, gets out his phone, pulls his pack of cigarettes out, covered in warnings, and just opens it, puts it in his mouth, lights it, puts it back in his pocket. He didn't even see any of those warnings. Zero of those warnings.
I mean, everybody already knows.
Everybody already knows. And if you're a smoker and I don't think it's going to deter you. It would not have deterred me.
No.
Not a chance.
No.
So that's what's going on in the UK. All of your durries are going to have smoking kills printed down the side of them.
I mean, whatever. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It's just not going to do anything.
It's not going to hurt. It's like he thought of this idea and went, awesome. Yeah, this is going to be great.
I did something
that's actually going to do nothing.
Check it off the to-do list.
Check that off the to-do list. And it's not like you can like track the success of this or talk to people like, what made you quit smoking? It's like, well, I was about to light up until I saw smoking kills printed down the side of my cigarette that I got out of the pack, that I got out of the carton that I bought at the store.
Right.
It wasn't until that point. Come on now. You're just going to see past those warnings. Everybody knows it. If anything, you're just making cigarettes a little bit cooler. Honestly.
You know what they should? You know what might actually work?
What?
Instead of writing smoking kills on the cigarette, what if they wrote
I'm an idiot?
Like motivational things.
Right, sure.
You could quit if you want to. Like, we believe in you, you know, or have you considered trying a vapor product instead? They're 95% less hard. Like, if you put, like, think of it like like Vicks cough drops. If you unwrap the little package and you'd spread it out and look at it, it actually says really motivational things that are kind of nice to hear when you're sick. Like,
does it really?
You can do it. Yeah. It's like, you got this, bro. Like, this won't last forever. They're like little, things for when you're not feeling good. Like, put that on a cigarette, like, you can, I believe in you. If you don't want to do this anymore, there's another way. Vapor products exist, bro. Put that on the cigarette. That might actually do something.
You could print down the side. It's just like, you stink now. You go, oh, I do stink now.
Funny.
Yeah. Dang.
Like, not just smoking kills.
Smells bad, doesn't it? You're like, oh, yeah, it does kind of smell bad, doesn't it? Yeah. Smells bad, doesn't it? Enjoy your ashtray breath. I don't know.
Right.
Not something like that.
Coughing yet? I mean, if they got snarky with it, that would at least be more interesting.
Snarky. One thing that the UK is going to do that might actually be helpful, and there's no news or anything around this, only a tweet from this person, Mark Oates, who said that the British government has announced that they're going to launch a review into Swedish snus.
That's exciting.
That is huge. That's
very exciting.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm shocked. I was shocked to learn that the British government had outlawed Swedish snus to begin with.
The EU did, if I'm not mistaken. The entire EU.
The whole EU. And now from what I understand now, because of Brexit, the UK has the ability to go, oh, well, we can allow Swedish snus. We can allow vaping. We can have our own tobacco control policy.
Taking a closer look at things that used to be demonized, like vaping, that they're actually like, we actually have a different view than everybody else on this. Maybe we should look again at snus.
Yes, exactly. Maybe we should look again at snus. Maybe we should look at Sweden, who's about to become a smoke-free country.
Yeah, pretty much.
With less than 5% prevalence of combustion. That's incredible. How did Sweden get there? The EU and the UK are just like, I don't know. How did they do it? Must have been some sort of magical Nordic something in the air. No,
and Sweden's like standing over here rolling their eyes like, snus, you idiot.
Yeah.
Snus. We've been telling you how we did it.
Well, what's crazy is the Swedish government doesn't recommend snus as smoking cessation.
Well, they don't even have to.
They're firmly against it. It's just a consumer product.
It's a cultural phenomenon from what I understand. That's like they haven't even had to do, things like that. It's the culture is just like, no, this is like we do this instead. And then they have like the lowest rates of cancer in the EU.
Like in the world, Sweden is. It's worldwide now. I like this one too, Janine. Those yellow fingers match your teeth. Just put that down the side of a cigarette, maybe.
My fingers never turned yellow from smoking.
My tips of my fingers turned brown, like where I would rest my cigarette. I used to smoke a lot. And I got, especially like after trips in Las Vegas where you're literally just chain smoking, like lighting cigarettes off of each other.
Oh, wow.
Then you'd get that. Yeah, you get all sorts of crud on your fingers. It was pretty gross.
I wasn't quite that heavy of a smoker. I was a medium light smoker, perhaps.
I would go kind of all over the place. It depends on where I was.
That's true.
I knew I was going somewhere, like if I was going to Las Vegas especially, that's a big trigger smoking for me, or like especially any rock shows or shows that we were playing at. It's like, before I go to the venue, I have to go buy 3 packs of cigarettes because I'm going to plow through 3 packs of cigarettes tonight. I know it. So I'd like prep, heavy smoker. Heavy smoker. There's a little bit of interesting news as well that I'm not sure is going to change much, but it just kind of feels nice as well. SBA urges another year of sales for PMTA submitted products. I lost this link. Oh, no, here it is. Yeah. So SBA is the Small Business Administration. This is a branch of like our federal government, from what I understand. It says a federal agency dedicated to advocating for small businesses has urged FDA to pursue permission to allow vaping manufacturers to keep their products on the market for another year while their pre-market reviews are in progress. So this was a letter sent to the FDA by the Small Business Administration. And as Danielle was telling me earlier before the stream, it's kind of interesting to see a government agency defending vaping to the government. Like basically saying, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem fair what you're doing to these small businesses.
Exactly.
So the idea is that this year, like this May, was the 1 year cutoff for PMTA submitted products. And after this year, you can't have your products on the market anymore. Is that what I understand?
September 9th is the deadline.
Okay, September 9th is the
September
deadline.
9th last year was the PMTA deadline. And then you got 1 year after you with an accepted application, you got to stay on the market for 1 year while you waited for your application to be looked at. So that new deadline is coming up this coming September 9th. So this coming September 9th, if nothing changes, even if you are Joe Blow with a PMTA that's been accepted and you're patiently waiting for the FDA to look at it, come September, you have to take all your products off the market. Even though you've done everything right and you're waiting patiently, you still can't sell anymore.
Yes.
And so what the SBA is doing is saying, FDA, like considering they've gotten a minimum, at least 6 million applications that they've processed thus far. There may very well be more that they are in the pile that nobody's gotten to yet.
Yeah.
There is like no chance that all of those applications are going to get looked at by September. Like it's not gonna happen.
It's not physically possible. FDA
I'd
is
be
spending
surprised
all
if
their
we got
time
one.
enforcing, FDA is spending all their time enforcing, sending out letters.
Well, and they weren't prepared. Like Mitch Zeller himself was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get like 6,000 probably." Like that's what Mitch Zeller, like on record. Yeah, no, 6 million.
Probably.
Yeah, they didn't staff up enough for that. You know what I mean?
Even that number is so far off that gives me no faith in Mitch Zeller or the Centers for Tobacco Products or the FDA. If they legitimately thought we're only going to get 6,000 applications. That's a huge disconnect. That's a huge
they're not paying
disconnect.
attention.
Not paying attention at all.
No.
It's crazy. And so the SBA sent a letter to the FDA. It says small ends vape manufacturers cannot afford to have their products pulled from the store shelves while FDA continues to review the timely submitted PMTAs for millions of ends products, the SBA writes. Most small ends manufacturers do not have the resources to absorb the losses from having their products pulled from the marketplace for several months or more. Once the FDA orders small ends manufacturers' products removed from the market, those small businesses will close permanently. I like this. This is weird. This is weird, seeing one federal agency defend vaping to another federal agency. I didn't think it would be the Small Business Association that would be defending vaping.
Administration.
Small Business Administration.
Office of Advocacy, even. Small Business Administration, Office of Advocacy.
They're like, bro. Advocacy.
Bro, it's not fair to them. It's not what you're doing. That's how I read this is, hey, what you're doing is not super fair to them. Could you put the deadline out another year? Like, this isn't their fault. They submitted on time. They did everything they're supposed to do. They're small businesses, and like no small business could just sit around not being able to sell their product and wait for you to, we'll just wait.
Can we?
We'll just wait.
Can we yet? Can we yet? We can't yet. Can we yet? We can't yet. We'll just wait. We can't yet.
Like, what business can sit around with no income and survive?
Yeah, I mean, zero. No businesses.
The pandemic taught us that for a lot of businesses, right? Like that doesn't work. That's not a thing that can happen. Small businesses are not independently wealthy, and they can't just
have 6 months of reserves to just sit on and just keep their business afloat.
No income. Yeah,
no income.
That's not a thing.
It's totally not possible. So this SBA letter to the FDA is a thing. It doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but it does kind of add some, as I'm assuming this is Jim McDonald who wrote this for Vapor 360. It says the SBA letter does not mean that the FDA will ask Judge Grimm to extend the enforcement grace period, but it is also an encouraging development. There has been discussions among vaping businesses and advocates about formally petitioning the FDA for a blanket extension of the deadline. This SBA request could add weight to such a letter and might offset the pressure of anti-vaping groups. Anti-vaping groups will bring to bear on the FDA.
Right.
Interesting having a federal... Look, I'm a libertarian and I want small governments. And so it's weird to me to praise a big federal agency for defending us against another federal agency. just sits with me in a real weird spot. But with that said, I'm in favor of this. I'm all for this. Yeah. And I think now with this SBA letter happening, now is definitely the time for the vape industry to send a letter to FDA asking for a blanket extension.
Yeah.
I hope that this gets pounced upon. I hope that this gets jumped on.
And I hope FDA takes it seriously, because they would then, I believe, need to petition the judge. Remember Judge Grimm? They would need to, I believe, get his permission in order to do a blanket extension just for everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like, essentially. And my guess is if they did that, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and all their buddies would come back and like sue again or another, you know, it would be a whole thing.
And Judge Grimm seems pretty firm in his ruling as far as this is the ruling, that's my ruling, this has gone on long enough. He seems very confident in his ruling that this is not going to change, that this is not going to.
But at the same time, he did grant a delay for COVID when it first happened.
Yeah,
so
he did. How long was that delay? Like 2 months?
No, it was longer. It was May to September. So May, June, July, August, September. So like 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did allow that. So he's not entirely unreasonable. And considering that FDA was obviously completely unprepared for the number of applications they were going to get, that's not the fault of the small businesses, right? Like, that's not their fault.
Right.
So I personally feel there's a pretty good argument that a rational person ought to listen to. I have no idea what Judge Grimm will actually say, but I think the FDA should ask. That's what I think.
I like that. I think yes, 100%. So there's no something could come of this. If something comes of this, we'll be sure to let you guys know as soon as humanly possible. What other? Oh, this little newsy bit. I want to talk to you about this too. Okay, so this is our governor, Gavin Newsom. This is our California governor, Gavin Newsom. Just look at this. Look at this guy's face.
God, that picture.
He's just such a smarmy guy.
He looks like a demon.
This is the most California-looking governor I've ever seen in my life. Just like that tan smile and his perfect teeth. He's like, I'm California incarnate. He just looks like the state of California. If the state of California was a human, it would
personified,
be him.
Basically.
It would be him personified.
Yeah.
But listen, Gavin Newsom's lifting all our COVID restrictions.
Yeah, like Tuesday or something?
Today. It's today.
Oh, today.
I think today is the Tuesday he's doing it. And it's going to be... See, I think I really like this. Obviously, I want no more mask restrictions. And what I think is good is Gavin, he's basically taking the stance of like leaving it up to the businesses. He's saying there's going to be no state vaccine passports. There's going to be no state vaccine verifications. I'm just leaving it up to the businesses. They can ask you to see your vaccine card, but the state can't. And as a libertarian, I'm fully supportive of that. I thought I read yesterday they rolled it out that way.
I thought I read, unless this is an update, I read on Twitter that, like, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, that Gavin had announced that there was going to be a system by which you could digitally prove you had been vaccinated that private businesses could use, but that California was going to roll it out. Like, it was going to be a thing that they were putting out that would allow you to digitally prove that you had been vaccinated.
Right. So from what I understand, there's not going to be a state mandated vaccine passport of any kind, but what the state is doing is letting you digitize your card so that just as like a convenience thing. It's like, look, you can carry your card around with you wherever you go. It doesn't fit in your pocket or your wallet, but you're more than welcome to carry it around.
No, it's quite large.
Right?
Yeah.
It's quite gigantic.
It is.
So we're going to we'll digitize it for you, authenticated by CDC, by the state, digitally, so that if you go to Home Depot and they say, well, you have to wear a mask if you're unvaccinated, you can just go, oh, I have this here. You don't have to carry the card with you. And that's not a thing mandated by the state. That's a thing leaving up to the businesses. As a libertarian, I'm all for this. And I think this is the best possible case scenario. And I'm surprised to see it from California, because I thought for sure I was like, California's going down this road of COVID passports, vaccine passports. They're just going to mandate them, and it's going to be this terrible authoritarian thing. Turns out it didn't happen in California. So thanks, Gavin. I guess thanks, Gavin. But I really like this idea. I like leaving it up to the businesses because
I think that
leaves
fine.
Ultimately you have the control and you have the power. So if if there's restaurant A and they require masks always, but then this similar restaurant that you also love doesn't, then you get to vote. Like with your dollars, you get to decide where to go. And if your favorite place, like if my favorite Lowe's was making me do a vaccine passport and Home Depot isn't, then I get to decide, well, I'm going to go to Home Depot instead. I'm not going to have to go to Lowe's. I don't have to fiddle around with that stuff. I think it's a shocking move on the part of California.
I mean, it's less in any state than they usually do. I mean, that's
California.
True. For me, though, I'm just gonna. To each their own. Right. I believe that, and so for me personally, I'm just still wearing masks everywhere. I've been fully vaccinated. So is my husband.
A lot of people do.
Still wearing masks.
A lot of people do, and it kills me that has like a stigma associated with it now.
Yeah, dude, leave me alone. I can do whatever I want.
You can do whatever you want.
I can do whatever. So okay, here you want justification. First off, if I have a zit, no one knows. Okay,
exactly.
If I have something stuck in my teeth, nobody knows.
Nobody.
I feel a lot more confident going out in a mask, not having to worry about half my face looking whatever. Also, allergies. Also, cold and flu season. I have not gotten sick since before the pandemic, and I wholeheartedly believe it's because of masks and extreme hand washing. I plan to continue doing this because I hate getting sick. Yeah. Like, I'm the worst. When I can't breathe out my nose, you don't want to live with me, okay? You don't want to live in a house with me if I can't breathe out my nose. I am a holy terror. Like, I am so uncomfortable and unhappy. It's ridiculous. So I like masks because I think they help me not get sick from other stuff.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, I agree with you. And I clapped back at someone on Twitter recently because they did that like clapping thing where they put the clappy emoji in between every word.
Oh,
and it said,
I do that sometimes.
If you wear a mask while you're vaccinated, that is anti-science. And I said,
no, it's not.
A, no, it's not. And two, what if I just want to wear one? What if I just want to wear one because it helps me with allergies? What if I find my allergies are better? What if we live in the United States of America, one of the most heavily surveilled and states, countries in the world, and I don't want facial recognition recognizing my face every time I go in public. I like having a little bit of anonymity. I have not worn a mask in forever. I just leave it at home.
Anarchy!
I don't even take it with me. I don't want to wear a mask, but if someone wants to, then there should be no stigma attached to that. People are ridiculous. Why does someone wearing a mask affect you at all? Doesn't.
I like it. It makes me feel safe and happy. I want to keep wearing it.
It doesn't in the same way that if I saw a bunch of people suddenly wearing top hats, I wouldn't go.
Who cares?
What? That's anti-science. You don't need top hats. Why are you wearing a top hat?
Your head is not that hot.
That top hat affects me somehow, and I want you to... It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Mad Mr. Fox, just allow the businesses to walk all over your rights? No, that's not what's happening, and I think that's not what's happening. They're not. If a business says you have to wear a mask to come in here,
no shoes, no service. What are they walking all over your rights there?
Are they trampling over your rights because they want you to wear a T-shirt in the store? That's a little bit over the top. That's a little bit over the top. And if there's a business trampling over your rights, you know what you get to do? Vote with your dollars
and don't
give that business any money. You keep the money to yourself, or you show them. You go, I'm spending this money I would have given with you over here because they XYZ. You have all the power. You have all the power. Only sheep are still wearing masks. Did you know that? David Jones has some serious... only sheep are still wearing masks. Only
Apparently,
pussies wear seatbelts. Only sheep wear seatbelts. I should have the right to drive without a seatbelt. I should have the right to drive at night with no headlights on. Only sheep use headlights. Come on. Grow up.
I mean, you guys, like, this is silly. Like, I'm allowed to care what I care about, right? Have you heard? I don't know if anybody's looked into the Delta variants that's going on. That's a concern, right?
Yeah.
You are probably still protected with the COVID vaccine, but there are other, like, people who haven't gotten vaccinated who exist are going to spread that around, and you can still get it if you've been vaccinated. So I just want to reduce my risk as much as humanly possible.
Sure.
That's what I want to do. I want maximum harm reduction,
and
so I can still go out into the world and go to Hobby Lobby and get my groceries and do the things I want to do.
You shouldn't have to make that speech, because literally it's just a piece of cloth over your face that affects nobody else.
Exactly.
Nobody else. Zero. Abdul in the chat says, no hoodies in my stores. Abdul, were you trampling all over my hoodie freedom? I should be allowed to wear a hoodie wherever I want, including your store. You're trampling on my freedoms by not allowing hoodies in your store. That's why we have, private businesses. We've been all through this before.
I mean,
private businesses. I feel like we got way off track. So let's talk about something even more controversial. Videos show Ocean City, Maryland police force using force on teens while enforcing the boardwalk vaping ban. Now, here's the story as I understand it. I wish this guy's name wasn't Tased Griffin, 18-year-old. Him and some of his friends were walking down the boardwalk there in Maryland, Ocean City, Maryland, walking down the boardwalk. Some of them were vaping, right? From what I understand, vaping's not allowed on the boardwalk.
No, so Maryland has rolled vaping in with their smoking ban. So anywhere you can't smoke, you also can't vape. And the boardwalk, from what I understand, they have like designated smoking areas or something, or you can't smoke on the boardwalk. So that means you can't vape also.
Mm-hmm. So that's the rule. So they were vaping. Cops came up and said, hey, you can't vape here. They said, okay. Well, they put them away. And then they started to walk off. Well, apparently Griffin here pulled his vape back out, and that was enough to set these police officers on edge, and they kind of just went bananas. A witness said that the officer grabbed the team's arm multiple times, and Griffin pulled away before, as the footage shows, he raised his hands, ends up getting tased to the ground, hogtied, drug away. Mm-hmm. This is bananas to me. Yeah. This is beyond bananas to me.
There was another kid that got kneed in the ribs multiple times at full force. I think it's that
same kid.
I think they were, because there's actually two groups, or one group that split into two. It's a little, this just happened. So there's still, reports coming out. Yeah. But there was either one large group that kind of split, or there were two distinct groups. There was multiple vaping situations. But I think it was a different, because I've watched both videos, and the build and the backpack was different on the guy who got kneed.
It was.
So there was another, there were multiple different like uses of force that were just completely outrageous. Considering like the punishment for this is like a fine or a citation or something. It's not, it's just.
Okay. Let me just read this from Vaping 360. This is Jim McDonald. Violent confrontation that led to the arrest of several black teenagers who were vaping Saturday night on the famous Ocean City, Maryland boardwalk has gotten attention from civil rights advocates, drug policy reformers, and even rap star Ice-T. But the Ocean City Police Department defended the police officers' actions. Of course they did. They said our officers are permitted to use force per their training to overcome exhibited resistance. I want you to watch this video. It's about a minute long. Tell me if you see exhibited resistance. Warning. Like, if you haven't seen this video, it's a little bit disturbing. If you watch a guy get tased, go to the ground, he gets beat on pretty good. He gets hogtied and dehumanized and arrested and actually pulled, like they grabbed him and kind of held him like some sort of animal, just out and arrested him. It's pretty awful, so let's watch it.
Chill. Get out.
Back up! Y'all did that for a vape, bro.
Y'all did that for no reason.
For a vape.
Call your mom.
That is the weirdest shit I've ever heard, bro. What the fuck? For no reason. Bro, put him in handcuffs for a vape.
He was literally standing there. He wasn't arresting or he wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
He was. Mom, like this. Are you fucking serious? For no reason. No reason. Do you see all these? And the one won't stop that doing nothing.
Okay, so that's a thing that happened. It's a little bit, I mean, that's a little bit jarring to me.
Yeah.
And I can see, look, I'm trying to look at all points of this, and I'm trying to see from the point of view of police officers, and they do have to deal with dangerous people all the time, and reaching for something definitely could have pulled out something dangerous there.
Sure.
Chances are, because they had seen him with a vape, and his only crime so far was vaping on the boardwalk, when they're yelling at him to take off his backpack and get on the ground, and take off his backpack and get on the ground, and he reaches to take off his backpack, and then they tase him. That's what I saw happen.
That's the problem.
That's what it
is
looked
you've
like
got
to me.
there were like 10 officers there, and I think at least 3 of them were all shouting different instructions at him. So I believe some were saying keep your hands up, and some were saying take your backpack off. What is a person exactly to do? Like me in that situation, I would have been like, can you guys all get on the same page, please? And so decide what exactly it is you want me to do.
Right.
Because like this guy says take the backpack off, and this guy says keep your hands up. He was clearly going for the strap on the backpack.
That's how you take
it
off a
That's how you
backpack.
take a backpack off.
He was like swinging his arms around. He didn't pull something out and like swing it around or anything. He was literally just taking off his backpack. Literally just taking off his backpack.
He was also being asked to do.
And I'm not, this isn't, I'm not an ACAB guy. I'm not, sure, there needs to be police reform. I'm a libertarian, so I'm against qualified immunity. This isn't like a race thing. I'm not trying to turn this into a race thing. I'm not trying to turn this into an all cops are bastards kind of thing. I'm saying from what I've seen in this video, that was not a proportionate response to the crime of vaping. No. Tell me if you think this part 2, this is even more shocking, everybody, so I apologize. You're going to be traumatized after seeing this.
I'm not resisting. Anytime you do arrest me, give me your hand. Take your knee.
So they ended up arresting 4 people total. All I'm assuming from this same group of they say teenagers, but he was 18. Some people said 17. Some people said 18. Some people said 19.
I was a range. It was between, I think, 17 and 19. Okay. I thought I heard most of them were 18 or 19. But in my view, as a 34-year-old woman, those are still kids. I'm sorry. They can't legally buy cigarettes. So
Sure, they can't. And here's the thing. You're assuming that this guy's a local guy because they just graduated high school. They're spending their senior days, like whatever, at the boardwalk. What if...
They're not. They're from Pennsylvania. This was like a school trip or something.
Oh, they're not even local.
No, I believe I read they were from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, what? Okay.
They're tourists.
So they're tourists. Basically. So what if that was just some other tourist family, or you're in Maryland, maybe you don't know the local laws, maybe you don't know the local ordinances, maybe you grab out your vape, maybe you light up a cigarette on the boardwalk. Is that a proportionate response to the crime of vaping on the boardwalk?
No.
Definitely not. And I don't see how you can see it as. Those knees that guy was getting, in America we call those freedom kicks. Those are called freedom kicks. You know, the police officers, they freedom kick you into straight up into jail. And did you see the way that they carried him out of there? Sorry, that's completely unnecessary. There's no need to dehumanize someone to that point. You let them walk.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That really upset me. Like, that put me in a really, because that could, I just look at this poor dude vaping. What if it was someone you knew? What if it was your brother? What if it, I have friends that have kids that are teenagers. What if it was one of my kids, one of my friends' kids there? What if it was someone from my family who didn't know about any of the local laws or ordinances? It's infuriating. It's infuriating. It says this, I'm reading again from Jim McDonald, Vape in 360. It says, this incident wouldn't have happened if not for the city's ban on public smoking and vaping on the boardwalk. E-cigarettes are included in the ban, along with combustible tobacco products like cigarettes and cigars. When this law was passed in 2015, city manager David Recor said incidents like the one last weekend wouldn't happen. How many times? How many times? How many times do we have to say, this is an unintended consequence of your legislation, and then they go, no, and then that unintended consequence happens. So many times now. We talked about it in Massachusetts. Oh, if you ban flavors, XYZ is going to happen. What happened in Massachusetts? The exact, they lost, $140 million in revenue for the state. In San Francisco, they banned flavors. What happened? Smoking goes back up. When we did a show on TBN about the menthol ban, and we talked about this exact scenario of unnecessary interactions between nonviolent, maybe people breaking the law technically by smoking or vaping in a place that they shouldn't be, but those interactions are going to be way more frequent, way more severe. Spike Cohen, one of my dudes I follow, he was the vice presidential,
the Libertarian Party?
The Libertarian Party guy. Hang on, let me try. He retweeted this.
He did, yeah.
He retweeted this, and I thought I had a screenshot of his thingy-ma-deal. Yeah, here he is. Here's Spike talking about it. We warned this would happen. This is how laws are enforced. Now watch what happens with menthols. It's going to be 50 times worse with menthols, 100 times worse with menthols. It's going to be the same thing.
I mean, the fact that people are out there and they're thinking like, okay, we're going to pass a law about a thing, but everything is going to be fine. How are laws in this country enforced? Answer me that question.
Two ways.
They're enforced by police officers.
Police officers violently or money. That's the two ways you enforce laws.
Right. Primarily police officers. Police officers, as we have all kind of established, there's an issue here. Now we can argue about what exactly that issue is. Right. There's a lot of issues, I would argue, but I think we can all agree there are issues. One of those issues being, I think, that the type of training that officers get with the guns and with the, kind of violent force that's needed, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, okay? And so whether you're enforcing this law or that law, it kind of all blurs together and they act the same.
This
regardless.
Is how we enforce the law.
Right. You enforce laws with
violence. Yes, that's the only way. Or money, right? A reasonable response to this would have been a ticket, right? A fine.
Yes.
Like, right, this kid, oh, you're only 18. Here's a $500 fine. Maybe next time you won't vape on the boardwalk. And look, nobody went to jail. Nobody got freedom kicks to the ribs. Nobody was hogtied. Nobody was tased. 4 other kids weren't also arrested in the kerfuffle that followed.
I still don't agree with a fine because in some families, $500 could bankrupt them. Like they may not be able to pay rent. What they did is they walked up and said, you can't vape here. And the kids grumbled and said, okay, and we're walking away. And one of them, in defiance, as the young people do, took another toot, while walking away. Officer, just let it go. They're leaving. What is the problem? Why did you need to, in my opinion, that was because that guy, that officer got very upset that someone deigned to, disobey. They were leaving. Just let it go. I mean, give me a legitimate reason why there would be a reason to pursue that when they were walking away and complying, other than one guy who was like, I'm going to do a rebel vape anyway on my way out. Like, they're kids. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, and see, now, sure, like a $500 fine probably would have been not great for this guy. $500 fine wouldn't be good for anybody. Wouldn't be good for me. Wouldn't be good for this kid. Or, I mean, yes, but he's a criminal now. He's been in jail. He's going to have a record. It's not just disorderly conduct.
He is screwed.
He has 2 counts of aggravated assault against the police officers. So this kid who was literally just vaping now has a record, now is a criminal, and is facing assault charges against the police officers. This did not need to happen.
No.
None of this needed to happen. Ethan Nadelman has a great quote from this article where he says, anyone who thinks banning vapes, flavored cigs, or menthol cigarettes is not going to replicate what we've seen with marijuana prohibition, i.e. police arresting lots of young people, especially boys and men of color, well, think again. What would he know? That's just Ethan Nadelman. He just founded the Drug Policy Alliance, and he happens to be a pretty big harm reduction advocate as well. But yeah, what's going to happen with menthol? This was a glimpse into drug war 2.0 that's going on against vaping and cigarettes and menthol. It's being enforced the same exact way because they don't know how to enforce anything any other way. There's only threat of violence to enforce laws or money. And I wish they would have just fined this guy instead of now having aggravated assault against him. It's infuriating. I mean, I just sat and stewed in this basically all day. It's really sad. It's really very sad. And I'm going through all of these like logical fallacies in my own head that I'm completely aware of, but I'm attributing things to this guy. Like, what if he was just a smoker? What if he had quit with vaping and he took, he is a human. He's a human with a name and a person, and he's a person in a family, and he has his own hopes and fears and dreams, and he was just on the boardwalk vaping, and now he is a criminal in prison. Thanks to, legislation from Campaign for Tobacco for Kids where they push for things like usage bans anywhere that smoking is. Campaign for Tobacco for Kids released their own sort of statement about this. Our statement on the disturbing law enforcement incident that occurred in Ocean City, Maryland. We are horrified. Campaign for Tobacco for Kids is horrified and outraged by the incident of police violence against black teenagers in Ocean City, Maryland this weekend. There's absolutely no place for violence and abuse in enforcing tobacco laws. The purpose of such laws is to keep people safe and healthy. Our communities cannot be safe and healthy when police choose to enforce these laws with violence, often disproportionately against black and brown people. There must be a full investigation of this incident and accountability for all the use of force used against these young people.
But by the way, we're not going to stop pushing for these laws to be created in all the states and all the places everywhere.
We're going to keep pushing for these laws. We're going to keep pushing for and supporting these laws despite the obvious unintended consequences of them.
And to be fair, and I know that you maybe didn't want to get into this, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick my foot in it. We do know statistically that laws like this are disproportionately enforced against people of color. We have statistics for this. Look at stop and frisk in New York. It was disproportionately used against people of color, and that's because a lot of police officers view those people as more criminal than white people. And they tend to use that as an excuse to engage to try to find some sort of larger crime or get in. It's just a thing that happens, you guys. At this point, it's not. You can look at the data. It's not really debatable. Like, it's just not. And so, people of color are more impacted by these trivial little things that are just excuses for the police to get involved looking for something else. We know this, and so everybody, countless people told Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids and everybody else on the planet that this was exactly what was going to happen. And it has happened. And now Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids is like, oh, we think it's bad. Yeah. You don't get to distance yourself from this when everyone told you this was going to happen and you did it anyway.
You don't get to be outraged. Yeah, you don't get to be outraged at the unintended consequences of something that you helped push and create.
When we told you it was going to happen.
When we told you it was going to happen. My camera died.
Nick got so mad his camera went out, you guys. The rage
is exhausted.
Infused into the technology, and his camera just went, I can't anymore.
Done. All right, hang on. I'm just getting a battery real quick.
It is infuriating. That statement from tobacco-free kids infuriated me like nothing has. So, like, you don't... Honestly, and I tweeted this. It sounds a lot like thoughts and prayers to me. It sounds a lot like when there's a school shooting and the NRA goes, thoughts and prayers. Mm-hmm. That's what that sounds like to me. Mm-hmm. And we don't need to get into gun control things. But the idea that you push for policy and bad things happen and then you just go, oh, no, that sucks.
Yeah. And here's something else. I don't want to bring this up to it. I don't want to bring... No? Speaking of being outraged at things that you had control over, I was really thrown off at the NAACP being outraged about this while also supporting the menthol ban. That is a weird-ass stance to take.
Yeah, it was the ACLU who didn't support the menthol
ACLU
ban,
was against the menthol ban.
But NAACP was for it?
But the NAACP was for it. And then the representative girl from the NAACP today tweeted out how outraged she was at this happening. And I thought... What?
How big of a schematic drawn out do people need? Like, this dot connects to this dot.
Right.
Do you see it?
You can't be outraged when your law is fully realized, consequences and all.
I mean, no. Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't. You don't.
You don't get to be. You don't get to be, especially if you helped promote it. So, hey, look, I told you we're going to have some heavy topics. I told you we're going to have some heavy topics today. We have some heavy topics today. At the end of the day, look, we're just here to defend vaping. I'm not here to run commentary on police. I can only comment on what I see, and what I saw did not sit right with me in any capacity. Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
The cops were the adults in that situation. Yeah. They should have told them to stop doing it, watch them walk away, and be done with it. Yeah. If one kid still pulls out his vape, let it go, bro.
Yeah, or you fine him. Or you know what? You just arrest him and you put him in cuffs and you drag him off.
Or I don't even feel like you don't need to. It's vaping, okay? This is a citational ordinance. I don't even think you can be arrested for this. It's like a fine. No arresting. Write a ticket if you absolutely need to. Don't do that either. But if you know what I mean, like, please just tell people not. How about a verbal warning and kind of walk with them away?
Yeah.
There are so many. Like, how do the rest of us go about our lives? Getting people to do things for us or that we want them to do without tasing them. There's a lot of ways throughout my life.
Many ways.
I get my husband to do something without a taser. Okay. I get my mailman to do something I want him to do without a taser.
Without a taser, like,
without sense.
Threat of violence, without any.
Common sense. I'm sorry. I just cannot with this. I cannot with this.
Yeah.
I don't care if you think that the police are like infallible. Common sense. Okay.
Yeah. Well, nobody ever says fuck the fire department. That's all I'm saying. Nobody ever says fuck the fire department. They come up.
They do also have a
really
calendar.
Dangerous job. They have an exceedingly dangerous job. They don't complain about it. They don't. If someone's in the house that's burning, they don't tase them and drag them out.
They don't
and say,
even
you shouldn't
have
been in
weapons.
this burning house. You should have been. Nobody ever says fuck the fire department. All right, let's move on. Let's move on from this. This was just a really weird incident. And then look, this was one of the most viral things I've seen in a really long time. I hate that term viral, but this really did pick up momentum quickly. I saw it just tweeted from some random person, and then before I knew it, every verified person on Twitter was tweeting about this. No big news outlets were tweeting about this yet. Washington Post was the only one I've seen. But these videos spread around like crazy. And look, I mean, we can talk about common sense, obeying police. It's cool. I mean, those are all real good ideas until you're in that situation and 18 people are yelling something different at you. And then before you can do anything, you're tased on the ground.
Right.
Cool. But moving on to something much cooler than that, let's get into a main thing.
I'm still kind of mad, but I had to make myself dance. I was like, girl,
I know, you were reluctantly dancing.
You need
reluctantly
to
dancing. You might be mad.
That's your head.
Dance.
It'll make you feel better.
It kills me of just like tourists. Like if there was a tourist and I keep coming back to this. If you don't know the local laws and you're on the boardwalk and you didn't see the no smoking sign.
Right.
This could have just been some tour. I mean, kills me.
Yeah.
Kills
he did
me.
an interview where he said he didn't see any signs.
Yeah. Anyway, we're moving on to greater things. Let's take a trip in a time machine, shall we, friends? Let's take a trip to about a year ago. Summer 2020, we were inundated with headlines like this from the New York Times. Smokers and vapers may be at greater risk of COVID-19. You saw these headlines, don't say you didn't.
Yes.
CNN ran with why COVID-19 might make you rethink your smoking habits. Mm-hmm. The Hill had a great piece that said, youths who vape or smoke over 5 times more likely to contract coronavirus. The Hill reporting that 5 times more likely. 5 times more likely. Blumenthal calls for a ban of all flavored vaping products, cites heightened COVID-19. Senator Richard Blumenthal is calling for an immediate ban on the sale of all flavored vaping products, saying they heightened the risk of spreading COVID-19. Based on nothing. He just said it. He just said it and then went, because I said that, we should ban these now because I said that it's bad for
sure.
Blumenthal. Just making shit up. No scientific anything. Let's see. Oh yeah, we had the wonderful Dianne Feinstein tweeted, and she said, "We're facing a youth vaping crisis that is being exacerbated by the pandemic. Most people who use e-cigarettes are now 5 times more likely to be diagnosed with COVID-19. We can stop this vaping crisis by preventing minors from buying e-cigarettes in the first place. 5 times more likely." This is an elected official. This is a career politician. This is Dianne Feinstein. She's been in office for 50 years now or something like that. Raja Krishnamurthy, one of my favorite dudes of all time.
Oh, God.
A new study found that youths who vape are 5 times more likely to contract COVID-19. Due to that frightening revelation, I have requested that the FDA clear the market of e-cigarettes for the duration of the pandemic in order to protect our young people. Wrong, Raja. Way wrong. This wasn't limited to just the United States. Philstar, vaping is spreading COVID-19 faster. To prevent a further spread of the coronavirus disease in the country, health experts from the Philippines Pediatric Society renewed their call for an immediate ban on the use of vapes or e-cigarettes. What about Kate Brown up there in Oregon? Kate Brown said, as we face COVID-19, which attacks respiratory systems, it's even more important to protect the lungs of Oregon's young folks, whose e-cigarette use has jumped 80%. These practical recommendations show us the necessary steps to keep them safe. Yeah. Then when you ban it and someone's using it and a cop sees them, then they're just whatever. They're a criminal now. They're arrested.
Tasers.
Yeah. Protect those youths. Just start rounding up youths who are using vaping products. Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids even said, not only are flavored e-cigarettes addicting a new generation to nicotine, experts warn smoking and vaping can worsen COVID-19. this is the worst time to allow the predatory industry to hook kids on these dangerous products. And then, look, lastly, this is the one, and you told me this is going to be my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Old Mike said the FDA has stated that those with underlying health issues who use e-cigarettes may have an increased risk for serious complications from COVID-19. They must act quickly to ensure our kids are no longer at risk. With underlying health issues and use e-cigarettes. That's what he said. That is the dumbest, most non-scientific statement I've seen a rich person make literally ever. But that's all we heard all year long was that vaping and COVID, they're linked. If you vape, you're going to get COVID. Not only are you going to get it quicker, it spreads it faster, and you have more severe outcomes from it. Well, literally all of that was based on this one Stanford study, and I don't even want to use air quotes. It's not even air quote worthy of being a study. It was an online poll for adolescents conducted by Stanford
anonymously.
I mean, I had Michelle Mitten on this show. We talked all about it. I'll link down the description. We talk about the Stanford study, but it was all of that. Everything you just saw was all based on that Stanford study. Well, now study. I don't even like, it was a poll. It was a poll of 50 kids.
And they didn't even do the math properly.
No.
Right? They didn't even do the math properly in the study. Because if you didn't watch that episode with Michelle Mitten, essentially what happened is that the survey takers who reported smoking or vaping, also reported getting tested for COVID more than people who said they did not smoke or vape. And common sense tells you that if you then ask how many of you have had a positive COVID test, well, you can't have a positive test if you didn't get tested. So the group who got tested more is going to have more positives because they even got a test. That doesn't prove anything.
Nope.
You have to account for those kinds of variables, because otherwise it is going to look like vaping and smoking makes you have it. No, it's because they took more tests.
It's because and they also came to some wacky conclusions in this Stanford study.
It didn't
straight up nutty conclusions where past e-cig use was associated with a higher risk of infection for COVID-19, but than current use.
Yeah. That
doesn't even make any sense. If you read that conclusion, you'd go, that doesn't make any sense. But Raja Krishnamurthy saw that conclusion and went, I'm going to tweet about that and introduce legislation in order to ban vaping.
He looked at that and went, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. No need to, whatever. Just, I'll take that for face value. Well, now that we can fast forward a year, and now we have some actual science, now the headline says, well, what's this? Well, what's that say? Vapers and smokers not more likely to be infected with COVID-19? That is crazy. Despite concerns from earlier in the coronavirus pandemic that vaping and smoking could lead to an increased risk of becoming infected with the virus, a new study found that tobacco and electronic cigarette users were not more susceptible to the infection. This study was conducted by Mayo Clinic researchers and published in the Journal of Primary Care and Community Health, found a lack of a connection between vaping and coming down with COVID-19. In fact, they discovered that smokers were 57% less likely to contract the virus. So, kind of everything we've been mentioning and talking about, I've mentioned at least 100 different times on this stream and other streams that smokers are underrepresented in COVID hospitalizations.
Correct.
They just are. There's no way around it. They just are, and that's what the data says.
And it's worldwide.
And it's exactly. And it's worldwide. So I'm going to link in the description to townhall.com where I read some of this, but I'm also going to link to Jim McDonald and Vaping 360 because they also wrote about it as well. In this last town hall part, It says, while there was no evidence of how vapes impacted COVID infections or hospitalizations, the New York State Academy of Family Physicians in February 2020 called for Governor Cuomo to ban flavored e-cigarettes from being sold because of a perceived risk at that time that smokers were of an increased risk of severe coronavirus symptoms. However, electronic cigarettes, which have proven to be much safer than tobacco smoking, are not the same as smoking, and they got lumped into the same thing, the same, regulations or limitations or whatever flavor ban you want to call it, just because of this COVID-19 thing, just because of this flawed assumption.
Because they'd been saying it before that study even came out. They were just assuming
speculating.
Smoke bad.
Yep.
Vape probs bad too.
Yep.
Therefore, COVID. Like that was their,
Yep.
I'm telling you, that was the end of that, thought process.
It wasn't. And even being like a rational, reasonable person myself, even I kind of gave credence to it and went, oh, okay. Like smokers, it's a respiratory thing. That really does kind of make a little bit of sense to my uneducated mind.
Could be, maybe, but there's also, it's complicated. There's a lot of other, because while smokers are underrepresented in COVID cases, when there is a person who smokes who gets COVID, they tend to have more serious outcomes related to it. So there is something to be said for smoking potentially weakening your lungs, but there are also theories about why there could be a preventative or even a therapeutic, angle here because of the nicotine, not because of the smoking. We know that combustion is bad for your lungs. Yes, we know this. But nicotine up in here is a different little situation. And so there may be some competing theories about how that could be either therapeutic or protective. But I'm so glad that there is real science now.
I'm so glad that there's real science.
This is an actual study, okay?
Right.
An actual study.
An online survey. Anonymous online survey in any capacity.
Because I remember reading this properly, because this was actually, I think, didn't they use was it like a, let's see, patient demographic? Just trying to look at how they actually ran this.
Yeah, it says, so this is from, I'm just going to read from Vaping 360 because Jim McDonald does a real good job. He says, despite dire warnings from tobacco control activists, there is no evidence that vaping increases the risk of being infected with SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. That's the conclusion of a study published by the Mayo Clinic researchers in the Journal of Primary Care and Community Health. It says the team analyzed data of over 69,000 patients. 69,000 patients.
Yes.
69,000 patients.
With actual test results, right? Not a survey that says, did you get a positive result? Please don't lie. Actual test results, okay?
Actual test results. 69,000 patients who visited Mayo facilities between September 2019 and November 2020 that determined that current or former e-cigarette use was not associated with a COVID-19 diagnosis. There you go. Black and white. Yes. Clear as crystal. Not associated. Jim McDonald goes on and on about basically everybody's reactions. Feinstein, Krishnamurthy, because of this, wanting to limit vaping because of this connection to COVID-19. It says on April 1st, Representative Raja Krishnamurthy temporarily asked the FDA to clear the market based on that really flawed study. It says scientists who began researching the potentially protective effects of nicotine were piliored. Come on, Jim McDonald, why you use confusing words for me?
I mean, he is smart. You have to let him have a few smart words every once in a while.
Pilliard is punishment. Oh, to put in a pillory. Oh, a pillory as punishment. Okay. Okay, I get you there. Pilloried by anti-tobacco organizations accusing them of being tobacco industry tools. Yet clinical trials with nicotine patches were planned at a French hospital. So this is actually actual science. In fact, let me switch it to the Jim McDonald headline since that's what we're talking about. This is a Mayo Clinic study. This is going to be hard to sweep under the rug.
Yeah, right off as, oh, you're funded by the tobacco industry, so what you found is not relevant.
Right.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. This was 100% funded by the Mayo Clinic. 100% reported, funded by the Mayo Clinic. I lost off where I was reading. Hang on, everybody.
Hang
on. He's just, so he talks about Bonnie Halpern Flesher talking about the co-authors. They refused to provide any of the raw numbers for their survey participants. But researcher Brad Radu, that the eye-popping results of 5 and 7 times more likely were based on just 5 and 3 survey responses.
Yeah,
that
probably
can't be real.
Oh yeah, absolutely, that is real. I have no problem believing that whatsoever from these buffoons. Okay,
so you mean to tell me, that Stanford did an anonymous online
No, not
survey?
Stanford. Bonnie, who happens to be associated with Stanford. Okay, that's it. It's not Stanford.
Okay, so Bonnie Halpern Flesher at Stanford. Is that an accurate? At Stanford?
Who happens to work at Stanford.
Did an anonymous online survey.
Correct.
Where 3 of the survey responses were of a certain answer and then based that 3 to 5% on just 5 to 3 survey answers. And everybody literally picked up on it.
Well, sure, because nobody looks at the math.
Everybody literally picked up on it. But now, when we have an actual science study done by the Mayo Clinic, now it's just crickets. It's just crickets everywhere. And nobody's going to go back and correct it. Raja Krishnamurthy.
No.
I would take $1 million bet that Raja Krishnamurthy isn't going to go back and correct what he had said earlier about COVID-19 and vaping, because now we're at the end of COVID-19. It doesn't matter anymore. His lie can just live forever on Twitter. And now that it's been corrected a year later, when it's not at like the forefront of the news cycle, he's just going to get away with it, man.
Exactly.
Feinstein's just going to get away with it.
Yep.
Why won't anybody pick this up? That makes me insane. So if we look at the actual study, which we do have the ability to do.
Yes, I gave you the link.
Yeah, look at that.
My favorite, make sure you read the very, very last sentence of the discussion. Make sure you get to that.
So this is really bizarre. This whole study is really bizarre because it's presented what feels like almost reluctance. Did you get a reluctant vibe from this study at all?
I got a vibe of like, they're not like pro e-cigarettes, because one of the lines says, although e-cigarettes have the well-documented potential for harm, comma. So these are not advocates. You know what I mean? These people aren't vapers. Okay. Yeah. They're not, but it's also written like a very, dry medical.
Very dry. So it says, patients who used only e-cigarettes were not more likely to have a COVID-19 diagnosis. That's where it sits right there, right? But then down here it says, although e-cigarettes have a well-documented potential for harm,
right,
they do not appear to increase susceptibility to SARS-CoV-2 infection. Well-documented potential for harm. And so then this is, a big, long study. We're going to look through the results down here. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to see, here it is again. Although e-cigarettes have a well-documented potential for harm. And they even they have citations here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. How many junky studies are there saying vaping is going to kill you?
It's 2 studies, and they're both about EVALI.
That's all you got?
EVALI, updated but not forgotten outbreak, acute respiratory illness in individuals who vape, JAMA Open Network 2020. And then this one, clinical imaging of electronic cigarette or vaping product use associated lung injury among patients.
So EVALI. Okay. Not associated with e-cigarettes, but okay.
Not associated with e-cigarettes at all.
No.
And that, I hate that they even included that. Why mention EVALI? It has nothing to do with vaping. It has nothing to do with e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes don't have a well-documented potential for harm.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, sometimes when you look at this research, you just have to be like, when you have that uncle who has a real weird view on something, and he's a really good contractor, and you really need him to help renovate your kitchen. But he thinks that there's lizard people living in the sewers. Sometimes you just have to be like, you are so misinformed on this one part, but I really like your skill.
You know what I really like is I like that you went through almost 69,000 patients and found no link between smoking, vaping, COVID-19. 69,000 patients. That has to account for something.
Yeah. That is a huge sample. That is a legit sample size.
That is a legitimate sample size. And this is, maybe this is where I get that like reluctant feeling from, although e-cigarettes do have a potential. How do we correct the Mayo Clinic on this? How? How can we possibly correct the Mayo Clinic on this? I have no idea. Maybe the Mayo Clinic will do more studies where they realize that e-cigarettes aren't EVALI and never were EVALI. But that is the only like weird hang-uppy thing about this entire study. And I'm going to put a link in the description.
Oh, read the last sentence though.
Oh, hang on. Let me read this last sentence. Where was the last sentence here? Future work.
Yeah.
Future work should evaluate whether e-cigarette use could moderate COVID-19 outcomes. Yeah, it should. Okay. That's interesting. There you go.
I think that is very interesting.
So they
appreciate that even though they're clearly not pro-vaping, they are willing to acknowledge science.
They are willing to acknowledge science. And that's, that's what you look for in a scientist that you follow or that you respect or you look up to. They want to, you want to learn more. You want to learn everything you can about it, even if it means that you were wrong before. And now you get to be right. So that idea of constantly striving for the truth and constantly trying to find that scientific truth, you're right. That is very, I guess it's a little bit reassuring. I guess it's a little bit reassuring in that maybe in the future, we'll see some other really, really thorough science from Mayo Clinic regarding vaping, regarding e-cigarettes. Science. It's
fingers
a year
crossed.
late. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's a year late. Not a year late. It's honestly probably right on time because they probably shouldn't have been speculating about this and going off of no science to begin with.
No, they should not have.
That should not have been happening.
Anonymous online surveys. By the way, there was some abysmally low number compared to like this real study had like 69,000 people. Bonnie's survey, I think it had like 4,000 people or something. It was so low. Or maybe it was like tiny. 1,100 or something. It was like a single digit thousand number, I feel like, and it was not impressive.
It was not impressive. I was looking for that same exact number.
I think for some reason I want to say it was like 1,100 people took the survey or something.
It was abysmally low. Abysmally low. Couldn't hold a candle to 67,000 test subjects.
No.
Or
with actual confirmed test results.
Right. Actual
not
confirmed
just
test results.
Asking if you got one.
Right. It's not National Youth Tobacco Survey.
Yeah.
You're not just relying on underage kids to tell the truth.
Right.
Why are we relying on that anyway? Why would we rely on kids to tell the truth? If you ask me in 7th grade if I smoked weed, I'm going to tell you no.
And there's some kids that for very strange reasons are going to say yes when they don't.
Like, yep. Yeah, exactly. Yes when they don't.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Weird. So I'm going to post some links down in the description to kind of literally everything I talked about, going back to the SSBA, standing up for some PMTA products. We're gonna post links to the Ocean City, Maryland Police Department arresting that poor kid for vaping. It's goofy. What a goofy news cycle. This was one of those things where a few days ago, I feel like we weren't going to have much to talk about. And then in the last 3 days, it's been like, oh, here's a ton of shit.
Chaos is what happened.
Just literal chaos. Just chaos happened. So, oh man. All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to put a whole mess of links down in the description. I have been completely ignoring the super chats, and
we should go through those.
Tremendously sorry. It was completely off my radar. There's only a few of them. Wee baby Seamus, that's very gracious of you. 6,000 is completely not knowing what the actual market is that you are going after. Yes.
Oh, to Mitch Zeller's,
Yeah, to Mitch Zeller's point of completely not knowing what the actual market that you're going after. 100%, wee baby.
Sure.
100%. And then you sent another super chat that says, I meant technically yes, but so what? I mean, technically yes. So what? That whole so what thing set a new precedent for politicians. And I know I bring this up every time, but the idea that a politician can acknowledge something and then completely dismiss it and continue on like their own path, like, whoa, that's crazy.
Facts?
Yeah, facts.
What do I care?
Dave Lloyd, that's very gracious of you. Spread the truth. Keep on fighting the good fight, Nick. Legion Vape sent me to help you keep the truth out there. Oh, all right. Shout out to you, Legion Vape. Shout out to you, Dave Lloyd. I appreciate that. And then Ujib, very gracious of you. You didn't say anything. You didn't have to. That's going to, I don't know, help fight the good fight of nicotine and vaping. So I guess we're wrapping up now. We seem to have a little bit of time left over.
Do you want to talk about my video games?
Let's catch up with Danielle and video games. I don't have a bumper. You want to do the Newsy Things again? Yeah, let's do that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like "and the such as" basically describes anything we want it to.
Yeah, and the such as is whatever. And the such as is everything.
And all the things.
And all the things. And all the such as. Danielle's been playing video games.
Yes.
And I need to know about video games, Danielle Jones.
Okay. So if people are like hardcore gamers, they're probably going to laugh at me because I am not playing Call of Duty and shooting people, you guys. I don't have the hand-eye coordination for that. I get way too overwhelmed by loud noises and people running around. So I can't do games like that. However, I really like strategy games, time management games, and multitasking games. Okay.
That sounds like work.
Oh, the brain. Okay. So there is a game, you guys. There is a 1 and 2. So there's a game called Overcooked. So they have Overcooked and Overcooked 2. And in this game, first off, it's a cooperative game. So you have to play with other people.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Co-op, I believe you can play with up to 4 people, and they can be virtual in the second game. At least they can be virtual or like sitting on your couch with you. And basically what it is each level is a little kitchen, and it's a different level design each time. Okay. And you are little cooks, and you are trying to make orders in a restaurant for customers, right? And so you have different recipes that you do, right? So let's say sometimes we have to make burgers. So you have to grab meat out of a box. You have to chop it. You have to put it on a skillet. It has to cook. Then you have to put it on a bun. Oh, so you have to chop some lettuce. Involved. Oh yeah, there's multi steps to these recipes. It gets more and more difficult as you go, right? So you have to like assemble all the ingredients together based on the ticket order from the customer. Some of them want cheese, some of them want lettuce, some of them don't want anything, right? And they're timed. The customer will only wait for so long. So you have to hurry to put these orders out on top of the fact that the kitchen level is a lot of times trying to kill you in the middle of trying to do this. Fires are starting.
Wait, so you have to play like cliffs. One of you's the chef and one of you's like a sous chef, and you have to like I get it. So like you're both chefs and you're both trying to teamwork to get these orders out.
Exactly.
Wow,
and so
that
this
seems
game, oh my God.
stressful for a relationship.
It is so much fun. Okay. Now, my husband and I work really well together in terms of like communicating and stuff like that. So we're just like, you get the pepper, I'll get the onion, chop it, put it, get in the oven, grab me a plate, I need plates. Like that's what... And we don't fight, but I have heard that some people get into arguments.
Well, I could see that. I could really definitely see that. I think it would be fun to play a game with Casey Pickle that is like a cooperative game.
Yeah, because you're
That
working
seems
together.
fun.
Yes.
That seems fun.
It is. I love this game.
All we play is like old school board games. We play like Rummy Tiles and Uno, where it's like Casey and I are in direct competition with each other. And it gets like we start with trash talking. Like it gets to be a real thing. Like we take Uno pretty seriously, and there's a lot of trash talking going on. So it would be fun to play a game where we're trying to compete together against something or trying to accomplish a task. I feel like this game in particular is right up Casey's brain hole. Like she thinks
it's real up my brain. It's all about efficiency.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you should do all the meat prep and I should do this and then we'll do this part. Exactly. Like it's about like what is the most efficient use of your time and where all the ingredients and the tools are located throughout the kitchen. Like how many of you are there? Because you can play with up to 4. It's obviously a lot easier with 4 people. But with 2. But the whole time you're like, you got this, babe. You could do it. Pass me that mayonnaise. Like you got this. Good job. Thanks.
Do you play this on like the Nintendo Switch? What do you play this on?
So there is a Nintendo Switch. There is PC. There is PlayStation 4. And I believe there is also Xbox. I think it's on all the things. We play on PlayStation. We have a 4. So we play on our PlayStation 4. But it's also, PC. I know there's a Switch version as well. And I'm pretty sure there's an Xbox version as well. But it is super fun.
I like this. I love this.
I love it so much.
Do you feel it has brought you and your husband's relationship a little bit closer? Like it's like a teamwork thing. Like you're like, buddy, come on, let's be a team.
And he'll get like real mad. We have like different, I don't know, personalities when it comes to like this kind of thing. So my husband is like, he'll throw the controller across the room. Okay, that's my husband.
Oh yeah,
like he gets that. But I'm here like it's okay. It's fine.
Too.
We could just do it again. Like it's okay. Simmer down. I'm over here like it's not the end of the world. Oh darn, we have to play the level again. The thing I love doing.
Yeah, we get to play this fun game again.
More.
The breaking of the controllers is a real thing that I've always done that. I used to be quite the gamer before vaping took over my life, but I was hardcore. I had Sega Master System, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, Xbox. Like I played a lot of games back in the day. And then I just didn't. But I used to be good and I used to have a lot of fun, and fighting games especially was my jam, and my friends and I would buy controllers just to break them. We would buy PlayStation controllers. We had extra PlayStation controllers so that if we were playing whatever, a fighting game, Mortal Kombat 2 or something on the NES, and the button wasn't working when it was, but your excuse is the block button isn't working. Yeah. We would destroy these controllers like it was a cathartic experience. We'd swing them around by the cord and like smack them on the ground. One time, my buddy and I, Jim, were playing PlayStation 1, and we took his controller out and just backed over it with a car. We took it. He was driving a big Chevy Blazer at the time, and we were both just yelling and mad and angry and fucking. We're slamming it on the ground. We just rolling over it with the car a few times.
I feel like this has to be a guy thing because my husband told me the same thing. He was like, "I know you don't like it when I get angry and throw things, but it feels really good for me." And I'm like,
"It does. Okay. It does feel good." Like I used to do the same thing where I would get frustrated with a PlayStation game when I was like playing PS2, and PS2 controllers have those like little. And I would twist it. I would like twist it and try to like break it in half, and I'd hear it like creaking, and every time I'm like, break, you mother, and then it would never break. I'm like, okay. Next time though, and I get so mad, I'm like, just twisting it. I don't know, it's a thing with video games to take out your anger, because I've never been as angry in real life as I have been at video games in the past. Like,
I mean, I'll yell F-bombs at the screen. Don't get
yeah.
me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I will do that.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, a deep breath. Do you want to try again?
And then you go, okay, I'll try again.
Or sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I've had enough of this game for tonight. I am at my maximum level of frustration. I think we should quit and watch Netflix now. Yeah. I would like to do that so that I can sleep and then wake up in the morning and be excited to play the game again.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine and well, too. That's probably a real healthy way to deal with the frustrations of gaming. But I find that breaking controllers or twisting them or trying to otherwise destroy them and smash them because it's not your fault. The block button wasn't working. The block button wasn't working. The block button wasn't working. But I remember I've never been, I'll just throw this title out there. I don't know if anybody ever played this back in the day. Kingdom Hearts. Okay, there was a role-playing game that was right up my alley. There was a crossover between Square Enix, who did all the Final Fantasy games, and Disney, who's Disney. Yeah. And so it was this role-playing game where you're this little dude, Sora, and you're walking around villages, and you team up with Goofy and Donald, and you have to, like, go to the Little Mermaid, and fight the bad guys there. And then you go to, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, and you fight the bad guys there. And it was, like, this big role-playing adventure game that caused me, like, I lost sleep over this game. I was so angry at this goddamn role-playing game because there's some levels that are just impossible, and you're trying to swim through the Little Mermaid level, and Goofy is swimming off in all these weird caves, and you're like, Goofy, what are you doing? I've never been more mad at a game than I have been at Kingdom Hearts, and to this day, I still have not ever beat the first Kingdom Hearts. I got to the very end, you guys. The very end, and I was cheat-coded out. I was cheat-coded to the max. My life bar went around the circle and then, like, down the screen. Like, I had so much life, it was ridiculous. Could never beat it. Broke a lot of controllers.
Oh, damn. I mean, we got stuck on... So we finished the base game for Overcooked. The nice thing about Overcooked 2 is there's a bunch of DLC. So we already finished the base game, so we're working on one of the DLCs.
Oh, yeah,
and we were stuck on the final level of this DLC for, like, days. Like... days. It was really frustrating.
And it gets to that point where you're like, do we even want to beat this level? Do we have to
Well, I was almost like, should we just move to a different DLC? And my husband was like, no, we must beat it. I can do nothing else until we beat it. And last night we beat it, just so you guys know. We did last night. We beat it. It was such a relief. It was such a relief. It was a lot of, like, teamwork, strategizing, like, how can we shave off 2 nanoseconds from making this goddamn pizza. Like, how can it was a pizza level. Oh my God. I was like, I don't want to make pizzas again for at least 2 days. Like,
that's amazing. All right. I think I have to check out this game.
It is so much
I think
fun.
I got to play this game. Yeah. Killer Instinct vaping case. Killer Instinct. That was a fun fighting game. I was a big fan of fighting games back in the day. That and all, like, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. Not only did I love them, but I was awesome at them. I could have gone pro. If there was, like, a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Pro X game something or other type of thing, I could have done it. I could have been that guy. Of course I used the Game Genie. I used the Game Genie Drumivore, and then I moved up to the Game Shark. Remember the Game Shark? All the cheat codes for the PlayStation. Yeah, it's okay. I used to game.
I'm not a very big gamer.
I miss gaming so hard.
I played Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I did play some Sonic the Hedgehog. I played Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh yeah, that's pretty fun.
I used to love Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I died a lot, but I really liked it. I played a little bit of stuff, and I will play, as in I sit on the couch and tell my husband what he forgot about the story for where we need to go for our next objective, or, like, what I think we should do to solve a puzzle. That's my playing. I'm sitting on the couch while he's playing, like, Uncharted. Love those. Like, I was really good at the puzzles, so I would be like, babe, wait a minute. Let me look at this. Okay, here's what we need to do.
It's interesting that you say that because I used to do the same thing with an ex that I dated for a really long time. Well, I had a PlayStation, and I used to love playing Tomb Raider, and I would make her sit and watch me play Tomb Raider, and she's like, I'm not into this. And then when I started, like, playing the game, and I was like, I can't figure out this puzzle, she's like, oh, well, what's the puzzle? And I'm like, oh, come here, look. And so we're trying to figure out this puzzle together, and then when we figured it out, we both had that, like, okay, you want to keep teamworking this Tomb Raider game? Yeah. She's like, go over to that cave. What's over there? Did you go over there? I'm like, no, let's go over there. So I would, like, play, and she was like co-pilot, And that was really
that's
fun.
me. That's me.
Like
that's
solving
me.
puzzles. That was a damn good time.
Mm-hmm. No, Uncharted is really good for that.
Uncharted, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I haven't played any games in so long. Tomb Raider.
Uncharted is good.
Tomb Raiders was some of the last games I played. I loved Tony Hawk's. I kind of got into the Resident Evil stuff. I had a Wii. I had a Nintendo Wii for a long time, so I played like the Resident Evil game on there. That was really fun. I just haven't gamed in so long.
You guys should play this.
I really want
I
to.
think, and it's really, I love it because it's like, mind, like mental acuity, like, okay, efficiency, productivity, time management, multitasking. Yes, that's my kind of game. I excel
sounds
there.
like your kind of game.
I am not good at like shoot that guy and now shoot that guy and then run over there and grab that objective.
Too.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Those are fun. Douglas in the chat says, anyone remember Hot Shots Golf? Let me tell you, Douglas, I loved Hot Shots Golf. My brother and I would play hours of Hot Shots Golf. Hours. And it was just the most simple little golf game, but it had really great sound effects. Like when you got a hold of the ball, it made like that golf ball hitting sound. I don't know. It was really cool. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. Look, Douglas, are you old school gamer like me? You grew up with Sonic the Hedgehog and Oddworld Abe's Odyssey? Me too. Me too. Did you view any films recently, Danielle Jones?
What was the last one that I told you about? We haven't done it super. What was the last one I told you about?
I don't remember.
Oh.
Total Recall. I remember you watched Total Recall.
Right, we did watch that. We watched Predator. I think I told you about that.
Yeah, Predator.
What else did we did kind of take a pause from playing the movie game,
right?
Because when we got the video game,
yeah.
But I'm trying. I thought there was a couple that I had seen that I hadn't updated you on. Okay, it was goofy. I didn't love it. It was okay.
What?
It was I can't remember the name. Really smart young kid goes to college, meets other smart kids.
Real Genius?
Yes, that
you
one.
You watched Real Genius?
That. Yes,
I love that movie,
one.
Danielle Jones.
It was.
I love that movie.
Was, for what it was, all right. Like
I love that movie. That's one of my top.
The popcorn at the end.
The popcorn at the end. It's so good. Spoilers if you've never seen Real Genius. Val Kilmer,
a ridiculous
Real
amount
Genius,
of popcorn.
Hilarious. That is I actually got Casey Pickle to watch that movie not that long ago, and she had a very similar reaction. Very much like, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Some parts were like, what is that? Oh, okay, fine. We just won't. Okay, it's cool.
There's a few more super chats that came in.
Yes,
Here's one movie that I would recommend. If you haven't seen it, Christopher Nolan did a movie called Interstellar.
Yeah, that was on my list I gave to you.
Okay, we watched it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes.
That movie's fucking crazy. I still don't know what happened in that movie.
I know. Just so the chat knows. Okay. A couple weeks ago, Nick was like, we're really into like space movies and TV shows. And my household is like all about the space. So I sent my co-host a huge list via text of like a million movies and shows.
Yep.
I think at one point you were like, that's enough. Like, please
we're good.
Like,
we're good.
And so, the giant list that was on there. Interstellar was on there.
Really, really good.
Very good.
Very good. Danielle said, we've been on a space kick. Casey's been especially obsessed with space and the moon recently after we watched the Voyager documentary. And so we've been trying to watch and consume everything about space. Interstellar, incredible. We also watched the Brad Pitt one, Ad Astra, about space travel as well. Still good. Still really good.
Yeah. Entertaining.
Still really good and entertaining. Not quite Interstellar level of like, holy fuckness. No. Interstellar was...
That was just beautiful. That was just gorgeous, that movie.
Incredible. Incredible movie. And there is I think it's on HBO Max. There's a movie called Apollo 11.
Yes.
That is a documentary.
That was also on the list.
Was that on it?
Yeah.
So for anybody in the chat, Apollo 11, it's a documentary, but it's only from unseen archival footage of the Apollo 11 mission.
Yep.
So there's no voiceover, there's no narration, there's no story. It's just the story of Apollo 11 told by the people as it's happening while they were there. It's incredible.
Yep.
incredible doc. Watch Apollo 11. And I think that's all. I think that's all we watched.
Have you seen Sunshine yet?
No, I haven't seen Sunshine yet. Sunshine.
You got to do Sunshine, and then another one that I feel is on par with Interstellar. Is Arrival.
Oh, okay, yeah. I really liked Arrival. I've seen Arrival.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get Pickle on board with Arrival. Sometimes it's a little bit too sci-fi. She dips her toes into sci-fi, but like, I don't know if I can get her on board with Arrival.
I mean, the fourth dimensional stuff will get me. I'm like, what? Yep. Tell me all about time as a nonlinear concept.
What do you mean four dimension? Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
I love the idea
I'm all
of that.
about nonlinear time. Like, what is this even about? I got out of that movie and my head exploded for like 2 days. I just like so much awesome. I love that movie.
It's just shot to the top of my list. Capital H says the series The Expanse.
Oh. That's on my list that I gave you as well.
Okay.
It is. So The Expanse, here is the one caveat that I will give you about The Expanse. And anybody who loves this, you need to agree with me. Okay. The first couple episodes of The Expanse, season 1, first few episodes, just hang in there. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. It's a very complicated world with a lot of groups that you're following, different politics.
Okay.
And so you just need to you will get it. You will be able, you know how with the first few episodes of Game of Thrones, I was like, I don't even know who any of these people are. What is happening? You just have to hang in there.
See, I'm
and
okay
then
with that.
You get like, okay, this is the OPA. These are the Earth people. These are the Mars people. These are the Belters. Like they're different.
What do you...
This is not spoiled. This is just the groups, right? So you will get it, I promise. But if the first couple episodes you're overwhelmed, that is very normal. And just keep going. Keep going.
I'll power through. I will power through.
Okay, real quick. My husband. So I was like, what movies have you made me watch again recently? Okay. I can't remember. Hurt Locker. Okay.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Days of Thunder.
I never saw it.
Frisco Kid.
Never saw it.
Real Genius.
Real Genius. Okay. Real Genius.
Yep. Those are the movies.
Those are all your husband's picks?
Yes, those are all his
great
picks.
Taste. Real Genius. I'm glad I know that there's another person out there that I could possibly bond with over Real Genius because nobody's seen this movie.
You and him like a lot of the same things.
It's an incredible movie.
A lot of the same thing. Event Horizon is Cerny, I put Event Horizon on his list.
Event Horizon is sick. I've seen. I haven't seen Event Horizon in a while, but I remember it kind of terrifying the shit out of me.
Oh, it's amazing.
I know when there's like visions into these like hell worlds, and people are just naked and bleeding in chains and like screaming, and I'm like, oh my god,
AF. It is metal AF.
Yeah, I like Event Horizon. I like Event Horizon. That's a good one.
Yes, please.
I should try to get. I need to get Pickle to watch that. And The Arrival.
Just go Sunshine. She'll like Sunshine.
Will she like Sunshine?
I swear. I think she will. I believe it because the characters, right? It's in space. Okay, they're on a spaceship. It's in space. Okay. But the characters and like what's happening. Yes. Do it.
Is Captain America in Sunshine? Oh no, that's Cillian Murphy. Okay, oh no, it is Chris Evans. Chris Evans
is he in it? I can't remember.
It's Captain America.
That's
America's ass. I like Cillian Murphy too. He's cool.
Yep. Is it Killian?
I don't know. I've always said Cillian.
So my best friend has a son named Killian, and I think it's Killian. I think.
Really?
I think it might be Killian.
Well, Cillian Murphy. I like Cillian Murphy too. He was a Scarecrow. He was Scarecrow.
Yes.
Scarecrow.
I like him.
And that's another. Yes, Rhett Falls. Thank you. Real Genius is amazing. Yes, Real Genius is amazing. What was I just talking about? Oh, I'm trying to get Pickle
Scarecrow?
warmed up to the idea of the Dark Knight trilogy, the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy.
Pickle, send her to me. Okay,
I know,
they're so good. It is the most
committed to
superhero-y.
Yeah, that's what I told her.
It is not like any. It's so different.
She really likes things like grounded in reality, and I'm saying,
yes,
Christopher Nolan did the Dark Knight.
There is no magic whatsoever. There is nothing. Perfectly. It is all science, technology, for the most part. Grounded.
Some technology might not exist.
There's a little that's like a little weird. Yeah.
Memory.
But It's not magically. There's no magic. There's no magic.
It's really great. And she's on board. She's like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's just a matter of when we find the right night. And I always suggest like, you want to get into some Batman tonight? She's like, oh, not tonight. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't want to push you because I know we're going to get there eventually, but I'm just so excited because I think you're really going to like it, you know?
I think she is too.
I think she's going to be stoked on it.
Those are glorious.
Those are glorious. All right. Well, we've got some, I've got some movie homework to do.
Oh, so much.
Sunshine.
Also, John Haymaker is correct. The new Awake movie on Netflix, quite good. I liked it.
Really? Is it sci-fi or?
It is. Did you see the movie The Happening? Do you remember that with Marky Mark?
Yes.
It is in that genre of movie type.
Oh,
it's
okay.
better. If you didn't like, a lot of people didn't like The Happening. I actually liked it a lot. But it is in that genre of like something is happening to the world. What is it? We must run around and figure it out.
Oh,
type.
okay. Yeah.
It is that kind of thing.
I like that.
I liked Awake. I thought it was good. I heard some people who didn't, but I liked it.
Listen, if it's got a solid trailer, then there's a good chance that we can get it viewed in this house.
Yeah.
We base a lot of our decisions just on the trailer.
Oh, we do too. 100%.
Yeah, lots on the trailer. So if it has a good trailer, then we'll be in. All right.
Awake. Yeah.
Sunshine.
Awake. Yep. I'll text you. Don't worry.
Text me that list again. But Interstellar, I was blown away by how good that was. I thought, well, how did I wait this long to see this movie?
And the soundtrack?
Soundtrack's so good. And I don't even love Matthew McConaughey. Like, he's fine, but he was really good in that.
Oh yeah.
Really good in that. Yeah.
I mean, you had Matthew McConaughey. You also had Matt Damon. Right? You had Anne Hathaway, right?
Anne Hathaway, yeah.
So many wonderful actors.
Wonderful actors and actresses. All right. I like our movie homework.
Me too.
At the end of our streams. But hey, everybody in the chat, I really appreciate all of your suggestions. I've seen some really good movies, and I keep throwing stuff up on the screen that I definitely agree with. Like Mallory said, Event Horizon, yes. Event Horizon. Yes, Event Horizon. Moon, the movie? Moon?
It's on the list I sent you. I need to scroll back. Scroll. It's there. Well, yes, Moon the movie is on the list.
You and I text in like these bursts of text.
That's true.
It's like silence for like 2 days and then, hey,
40 texts.
Yeah, like this much. And then
maybe I should email you.
Add it to the Google Doc.
Oh, that's where I'll put it, you guys. We just solved it.
Put it in the Google Doc so that way I won't miss it.
I just found it. Yeah, all that stuff that you've watched is from my list.
Okay, good.
Just so you know.
Well, see, then I'm kind of technically following the list. District 9, so good. Swamp Thing, District 9.
Oh yeah, District 9 was very good.
Oh, District 9 is so good. Orville, haven't watched it. I've heard really good things.
Oh, that one it's definitely lighthearted. It's like
I've heard it's lighthearted. Isn't it Seth MacFarlane?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like him doing a Star Trek-ish, you know. It's like there's stuff there because I wouldn't watch it if there wasn't. Okay. But it's also lighthearted. Like it's like, you know, if Star Trek was funnier, like kind of a lot funnier.
Okay, I can get that. See, I like Star Trek. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Let's get through some of these super chats that happened here. New Wave Dave says, wait, politicians don't have our best interests in mind? No, I don't think that they ever do. And that I hate landing at such cynical of a position, but over the last 44 years, I haven't seen any politicians that have your best interests in mind. Zero politicians. I mean, maybe not zero. But the ones that do are so few and far between that they won't stand up to the status quo. It's tough, New Wave Dave. It's a tough world out there. Jake Scrapwood, Xbox, and a game called Fongs. It will test your relationship. Oh, this sounds exciting. Let's search for Fongs. What is this game? Oh, it is a puzzle adventure game out now. Xbox Fongs. Oh, it looks like looks so fun. It looks like dogs.
I'm gonna need to Google this.
It's a 2-headed dog. This looks fun. If this will test my relationship, I don't know. That looks fun, Jake Scrapwood. That looks really fun. Barbara in with the super chat. Remember when your dad had Pong? Because we old. Because, yeah, we are old, Barbara. I do remember my parents had a Pong home game. Like before an Atari, before any home game systems, they had Pong, and it was just a box that you plugged into your TV, and there were two little paddles with like rotating dials, and you rotated the dial, and your little Pong guy would move up and down on the side, and you would play ping pong. And it was home Pong. And yes, we had a home Pong machine. That is crazy. I am old. Mallory Gates, you should try Second Life. There is a ton you can do in there. It's much more of a virtual world than a game, but you have games within Second Life. I've always wanted to play Second Life. Second Life just reminds me of The Office when Dwight starts playing Second Life. And in his Second Life, he is still a paper salesman from Scranton. And that cracks, except he can fly. That cracks me up. That cracks me up hard. Fack YouTube, how you doing, buddy? I get to see a live TBN today. That's right, you did.
Yeah.
Fact YouTube. Hope it was everything you could have asked for and more. You know, we cover vaping on here. Sometimes that, you know, bleeds over into other current events, topics, police, things, and we just kind of go with it. I'll say this here because I've said it 1,000 times. Vaping is a nonpartisan issue.
But it is political.
The campaign against vaping, exactly. It is political. It can't not be political because it's the United States of America. And I mean, It's not even just political here. It's political the world
everywhere
over.
Because governments and regulation.
It's political the world over. But let me tell you that the attack on vaping is completely bipartisan.
Yep.
So the defense of vaping, if we're going to survive, has to be bipartisan. Just has to be.
Agreed.
And I think we're a shining example of that. I'm a libertarian. You're a Democrat. Look, we can come together. We can make things work. We can have the discussion. We don't have to jump down each other's throats. We can have the discussion, you know?
I do not belong in anyone's throat, so I don't go there.
I don't want to jump down anyone's throat, you know, but there's sometimes that, look, sometimes it's just unavoidable. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to put links literally all over the description, as I said. Whoa, that was interesting. I'm going to put links all over the description, as I said. But thank you, Danielle Jones, for being here, keeping us on point with just facts, being our fact checker to make sure that we are a factual stream and we present facts and science only.
Yep.
And that's
plus
what we
our
do
opinions.
Here. Plus our opinions. Yeah, lots of our opinions on top of that. Lots of our opinions on top of that.
Yeah.
But appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you so much. We'll be back here again in 2 weeks with more spectacularly awesome vapey news. We're going to play some video games in that time. We're going to watch some movies in that time. We're going to be on Twitter on that time. And so that's what you come to expect from this high quality TBN broadcast. So I will say thank you again to Danielle Jones. Thank you guys for coming out. Really very much appreciate it. Remember that no matter what literally anybody tells you, vaping is at least 95% less harmful for you than burning those deadly, deadly combustible tobacco cigarettes. So yeah, no matter what's in your hand, you guys, let's keep on vaping. Let's keep fighting the good fight. Crisp high fives and positive vibes for everybody. Be excellent to each other. Bye. Eventually. Okay, now bye.